Okay, now is recording, so is Planet Glee. You can start.
Bonjour, bonsoir, c'est Planet Glee une autre fois. And finally, with this new year, Planet Glee has a new show, yay, with Planet Glee's favorite guest, Count Federico Wardal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am very honored to be again in your wonderful program, and honored too to give answer to I think to your interesting questions about Federico Fellini.
Yeah, he is I think he's still a very big mystery. I think a lot of the critics that I've read who've written about him, they don't get it. I don't think a lot of them. He was the best interviewer of himself, right? He was the one who wrote the best about himself.
Of course.
And yeah, and you have a film, that you've made about your relationship with Fellini. And so do you want to start with, you were in Fellini's film Casanova.
Okay, so what is your precise question about?
Okay. Well, my first question for you is, to what extent did you find Fellini following Pirandello's lead with regard to the absence of the auteur in Casanova?
I think definitely yes, because Pirandello influenced all his time and especially after his time. Because Fellini was so careful about new ideas, new way to create, of course, in cinema and in definitely in theater too. Definitely, is my opinion, Fellini followed Pirandello also because there is in internet too that Fellini always says, I create the personage, the role, but often the role take its energy by itself, and this is definitely the theoria of Pirandello. That is not only the theoria of Pirandello, but is the reality. Always a character take his soul after is generated. So about Casanova, Federico Fellini, of course, recreate Casanova by his great point of view, and then the role of Casanova took its soul. So Fellini left to the role of Casanova to live his freedom, and also always Fellini, when we was on the set, he had things, he modified something that was written in the script, etc. So just he little bit guided the role of Casanova, means all the film about Casanova, because all the film Casanova is Casanova role.
Yeah, beautiful. How much was your time with Fellini influenced by his tendency to find his inspiration in dream life? And what would Jung or what Jung would call the collective unconscious.
Yes. For me, I discovered with Fellini that, because of course I was very young at that time, so I discovered that I was, now I am conscious, at that time I was not conscious, that the energy, the impact with Federico Fellini already gave me his part of himself, you know, or the part of himself better that myself liked to absorb. But this is always, I discover later, after years, because always also the impact with you when we met. Of course, I was influenced by the part of you that my self like to share, how I say, to know. So this is a concept and also is a reality that every time there is some important impact also between friends, that of course you mentioned the friendship too. So by friends and by artists too, sure he enrich myself. Also, I have my own creativity, but definitely, and also because I loved him. And so, as I love you, and I love the Pirandello, so of course I receive by love, by the way of the love, I think precious gifts.
Beautiful. Now, do you think Fellini is difficult for modern, that is post-90s people? Is he difficult to grasp and understand?
No, easy to understand Fellini because I also have the proof. I have 4 groups on Facebook about Fellini that are growing in an incredible way, and there are people from everywhere, and so sure people now need Fellini, because the thinking, the comment of these people every day are wonderful. So each one, of course, are a lot, are thousands people from everywhere in the world. So this is a test, and they give each one of them some almost interesting comments. They write interesting comment. Also, you know, in Facebook I put some to become a member. I request an answer to my question. And my question is, what do you think is the Fellini contribution to the humanity? And they give me every day some very interesting answers. So this is definitely the proof that we need Fellini. So Fellini is in splendid health, and we need Fellini, means the people need Fellini. This is the answer, you know. Facebook is a big test. And so Yes, and so also yes, because Fellini really, by his inspiration, his creativity, his eyes pointed on the society, on the world, and on the humanity, gave to us every day big result, and me, I unconsciously, maybe I continue in my way the path of Fellini in some way.
Interesting. Thank you. What do you think has been missing in the homage, several homage this year for Fellini, either in Italy or throughout the world? What do you think is missing in those homage to Fellini in this 100th year of his birth? Or 220?
Yes. So I saw many homages to Federico Fellini, of course, for Fellini100. After that, we will speak about our homage to Federico Fellini in Hollywood last year. And generally, the institution lost to create an event about Fellini. Just they screens the film of Fellini, but this is not a creativity. This is no work. Yeah. So no commitment. The presentation also, they don't work to find people that met Fellini, means intellectual artists like me too, and writer, etc., that are still alive. So I didn't see that any institution contact people that met Fellini, that are few, but there are, and always, and today, by Zoom, by this technology is easy to have a guest, if the guest is in another country. So no commitment by through the institution. Also, is not to criticize, but only us celebrate Fellini in Hollywood. Do you remember very well? So no, after, in the day of the birthday of Fellini. So after in Los Angeles they make something else, etc. But we celebrate, Federico Fellini in the Ruby Theater in the January 19th, that in Italy was January 20th, so the birthday of Fellini, with Federico and Fellini, the film, and you took, you have the footage of the film. I played live during the screening, continues the film, and then I come back in the screen. So I think, and you made a wonderful presentation to the event, but was just created the event about Fellini, because Fellini is not a museum. Fellini is alive. That's why in Facebook the groups about Fellini are growing. So, and this was a spontaneous event because we are not institutions.
Right. Yeah, so true. And would you say that Hollywood gave Fellini in general, he earned, 4 Oscars? Was it? And so do you feel that Hollywood understood him cinematically, that they really appreciated his contribution to filmmaking in general, not only the stories, but the style of filmmaking that he was doing?
Yes, this was my surprise, and maybe your surprise too. that just as that is enough. Also, we celebrated Fellini in Hollywood because, of course, Fellini was a winner of, I think, almost 4 or 5 Oscar, Academy Awards. So the fame of Fellini is also by Hollywood.
Yeah.
And maybe of course there are a film festival like Venice Film Festival, means Italian Film Festival, etc. But the fame of Fellini is in part or in a big part through Hollywood too.
Yeah. Now, now let's talk about your film for a little bit. What do you think does the still photo montage, style of your film somehow connect with Fellini as he operated as an artist, filmmaker, creative person? Does that montage, those images, would you say Fellini would approve of your film?
Means, of course, I don't need the approval of Fellini, but I understand your question. I think if Fellini could watch my film, he could agree about the way I made the film. Means I recreate the pictures of the fabulous person and friend Pierluigi Praturlon, that was a friend of Federico Fellini and his official photographer. Just I recreated the pictures of Pierluigi Praturlon, and maybe in my film, my last film, means Federico and Fellini, Our Time Together, is maybe I could come some dream atmosphere too.
Yes.
And so yes, means was not my intention, but now if I can watch my film, I could feel some dreaming atmosphere. Was not my intention, but was spontaneous. And so, of course, the dreaming atmosphere is very close to Fellini. Means I reinvented the atmosphere. The story is my friendship with Federico Fellini in one day, telling in one day. So there is a picture when I come in Cinecittà, first time, means in the morning, and the procedure to meet Fellini, to meet the visagist Rino Carboni, to meet, of course, Maurizio Main, his great assistant, and Norma Giacchero, his supervisor for his scripts, Liliana Betti, also another supervisor of the scripts of Fellini. It was my day in Cinecittà during the shooting of Casanova. But of course, in dreaming, some memory, that memory doesn't have time, because memory, are inside to ourselves, so are not the past, are inside now and in the future. And by films we communicate our memories, so by cinema they could be, we hope, eternal.
Yeah, this is something I haven't asked you yet, and that is, how did Fellini discover you?
In very simple way. Just he saw my pictures by my film agent and called me. This was a very, very, very simple, not by, people that we had common friends, but was not a common friend because was straight the matter, and he thanks to him, of course, he called me immediately, and he thought for me the role of Casanova adolescent, and the role was, after he met me, the role was more, he worked about the role after he met me, as always, and the impact was very, very simple, the meeting with because he requested to see me immediately, and of course I rushed to Federico Fellini. Already I was quite new in theater. I was very, very young. I think 15, 16 years old, but doesn't matter the matter of the theater. Fellini, when choose the person, the character, not the artistic experience, almost. Of course, I use my artistic experience to play in Casanova, yes, but anyway, the director definitely was Federico Fellini, so I follow Federico Fellini only. So I looked to him, I felt him, and existed only Federico Fellini, and to as director, and so was fantastic the experience.
What is your favorite film of Fellini? What is the one that you most
For me, it's Fellini, because all the films of Fellini are Fellini, all. So for me, doesn't exist a film especially. Yes, exist, but okay, but is a part of Fellini. I loved Federico 8.5, me, and also Casanova. But every film of Fellini, every work of an author is an author. Every. So, because, of course, when Fellini expressed himself in all his films, a part of himself, and step by step, the part of Fellini is interesting, but all the I don't have really, are all interesting for me, the films of Fellini. All the films.
Now, you mentioned Cinecittà. That was the set, right? The like Hollywood has its sets, Rome had its Cinecittà, right?
Yes.
So, now, did all of the Italian filmmakers work out of Cinecittà, or was it mainly Fellini who was the maestro of the Cinecittà?
So Cinecittà was so big, it was a city of cinema with many studios, and so of course worked a lot of Italian author, movie director, etc., especially Fellini, and also foreigner authors, and also author from and movie director from Hollywood too, was a bridge, a strong bridge between Hollywood and Cinecittà at that time, very strong. So, and all the superstar of Hollywood, I met Liz Taylor, I met Gregory Peck, I met Liza Minnelli. So was, you know, some so good bridge, so many movie director and authors, you know, from everywhere they use Cinecittà, but by Italians, Fellini loved to shoot his film in Cinecittà, was his home. And Teatro 5 means the theater, the Studio 5, enormous studio, was his favorite because often Federico Fellini used a huge sceneries, so need space, but also outside Theater 5 was, of course, a huge space in Cinecittà to build scenes, to build enormous, maybe colossals was shooting in Cinecittà. So yes, was a great institutions, and I hope will come back in some way. Of course, now the time is changed because, of course, internet, etc. Okay, but anyway, yes, this is many movie director, Italians, of course, and not Italians use Cinecittà.
Federico, if you had to choose a character from one of Fellini's many films, great films, to play, which character would you like to play?
Fellini. So means yes, because Fellini is each character of his films, I think. And anyway, the character of his films are part of his life and his imagination, creativity. So I like to play Fellini, maybe Federico and Fellini, means me and Fellini. And to also the film that I made are, you know, the dialogue between Fellini and I, you know, so is by my experience. Okay, running out of time said that. I don't know what means if they stop Zoom or not. I don't know. Anyway, we will continue. Okay. Perfect. Yes. So Fellini has so many aspects. He's so big character in many dimensions. So he's so. I could play Fellini in many films. That could be creative. To continue the work of Fellini, too. In my way, of course. Yes, like mentee is in English. Mentee, mentor.
As a mentor? Yeah, mentor.
You know, little bit. With all the respect of Fellini and in my way. But I have the seed of Fellini in myself as the seed of Pirandello also. Never I met Pirandello, but doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, such intense and important visual artists, you know, like the whole line of Italian visual artists are just, yeah. What do you think? Just the one more thing. What do you think about Italy that has produced so many beautiful visual artists in cinema, in painting, in architecture? in music? What do you think it is?
Is because history, because of course Italy exists, means had human activity from the prehistory, and then of course Mediterranean area, you know, Egypt, Mesopotamia, Phoenician, Greek. So the great civilization, and also Italy was always connected with, and also Mediterranean, with Asia too. So it's a crossing point of civilizations, and a great aspect of each civilization is art. So the Italian are very rich inside, like in, you know, in the genus, what is called in English, you know, as the Egyptians, as the Greek people, as all the people of the Mediterranean, because, you know, the sea link is for the communication between cultures. So sure, for this reason. And also Italy is a peninsula, so maybe condensated, very different, means a peninsula with a lot of climates, a lot of kind of habitats, and so, and of course, influences of many people. The sea, you know, peninsula is like SanFrancisco. SanFrancisco is smaller than Italy, but you know, also SanFrancisco came a lot of culture. It's a peninsula in a way, but Italy is, you know, so the costs are so different. The exchange of cultures are incredible. So I think this is one of the reasons the Italian are so creative, because also the geographical form of Italy too.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I think for the Planet Glee audience, we should maybe promise them another show about Fellini, maybe even longer show. Maybe we can do it with our journalist friend, Christina Deptula, for our next one.
Very welcome, Christina Deptula, very welcome.
Yes, she is the founder of the online magazine Synchronized Chaos.
Chaos, absolutely great magazine, great cultural, international magazine, and artist, about art, of course, too. Yes.
Yeah, because next time when we speak, I want to get into a little bit more about some of Fellini's characters. And, you know, so much is written about him as an auteur, but I think, and how he places himself in his films. As you said, he's always in the films himself somehow.
Oh, you know? Yes, as all the authors, all the authentic authors are in their films. And of course, Fellini was, he had so immense personality, a special personality, that he strongly always is in his films.